It's Jimmy's podcast, season
11.
on the podcast. We coming back for more. I bet you never thought we'd last, and neither did we.
Well,
Breaking news, show reviews, rubber boots reacts, and other social media crap. And if nothing else, you know you're gonna have a laugh. You're gonna have a laugh, oh yeah, this is the podcast.
we're rolling, buddy.
Oh.
We are rolling.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Post-Augusta podcast. Why did you guys not make it on the session? We tried to hook up with you guys, and you never made it on for the part of the podcast.
When you say you tried to hook up, what does that entail exactly?
Well, look, at Puffy and I did a segment. I don't know why it didn't make it into the podcast. Maybe you didn't get it, or maybe I forgot to send it because of we were drinking. Is that possible?
First time
It's
hearing
possible.
this.
All the segments you sent me, I did put into the pod.
Every single one.
Yeah. I edited some of them down. Thankfully.
Well, this won't be very fun for the viewers on the YouTube, but I think I can find this here. Podcast open.
This is riveting for the listeners. So
Oh, absolutely.
the payoff is there already.
Maybe it's only 7. Okay, 139. Here we go. Let's see if this is it. Podcast open.
Okay, that's Puff. Open your computer there.
Yep.
It's Stoff send you the link.
Yep, I got the link right here.
Just okay, you got it.
It's dial-up.
Oh my God,
That's not going to be good.
The Wi-Fi in the house is terrible. Give it one more shot. Hey, we're starting the pod. We're just hooking up with Lester and Stoff. Hold on a second.
Yeah, one more. Yeah, manifest is good.
We're doing a master's pool, but we got to do the podcast. We can't get them.
Dial-up is terrible.
All right, well,
We
were supposed to do the first segment with them.
I think we just do
Just do it on our own.
it on our own. And
But we already said this is a big one because the last 2 Masters podcasts have been disasters, and we did promise. So it's
you know what we should do?
What?
We should do like segments. I think you should like interview like, I don't know, GD. He'd be a former professional golfer.
And what about you doing an interview?
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think we just do you and GD,
All right,
and then we do a quick wrap.
we'll just see what happens. It's Monday here at the Augusta
But by
National.
Monday, you mean Tuesday.
No, it's Monday, and we're gonna tape for the next few days and see what we come up with. I apologize to the listeners, and especially to Lester and Stoff. We're probably sitting at home by their computers,
Yeah,
waiting for us to hook in. Do one more. Just try one more time to dial up.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we got nothing. Sorry,
Freezing.
folks. We'll make the best of this.
The damn dial-up.
Oh, that is so funny.
See, I kind of expected to tune into this week's edition of the Masters Pod and hear that as the opening, but now I got to check my messages to see if I actually forgot to send that to Stoff, because that actually was taped at the end of Champagne Tuesday, which shows how put together Puffy was.
It's a shame too, because that probably had the best sound quality out of anything you sent.
It's there. It was sent. It was sent. Podcast open. This is where you guys read.
Buried. He
podcast
buried
open.
the lead.
We'll have to see
Wow.
it. I don't know.
Podcast open.
Wow.
Somebody didn't produce properly,
Wow.
and it cost.
Or
them.
he did produce properly.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Cut that out.
I
Was the
love,
interview with Graham Dillette in the podcast?
Did you listen to the podcast? Like, I'll tell you, buddy, if there's one podcast you should listen to a year, it's probably this one.
I started to
and as
listen.
soon as it comes up,
I started to listen on the plane ride home, and then I fell asleep.
then you got bored. Wow.
Yeah, no, I fell asleep because I was sleepy. But
exhausting.
did it make it in? Did that make it in? So everything.
Yeah, it did.
Bump's interview, Puffy's exclusive interview with Bob Weeks made it in.
Yeah,
where he
that made it in for
Where-
sure.
where
That was a
he-
memorable one.
where he talked about his son being raised in a broken home.
Bob, first off, twice divorced now. How do you think that affected your son Chris growing up in a broken home?
Wow.
I wanted to come out swinging.
Now I know you probably Stoff. You probably have this saved for listener mail. But wasn't there one quite blunt review? There was one review that said, guys, I listen to this podcast every year, but I'll paraphrase. He said, this episode every year makes me want to poke my eyes out, essentially.
Yeah. Or ears.
I don't know what I would like to listen to Stoff and Lester's review, because Puffy and I tried really hard to cut down the people talkie over people talkie.
Yep.
Right. We didn't have Bobby Weeks playing guitar and singing the whole time. We tried the segmented format. Maybe that little golf tournament went on about 20 minutes too long. But what do you want? I thought it was riveting in person, wasn't it, Puffy?
It was exciting. It was very exciting, yeah.
And we were trying to capture the air of radio. We were trying to take you back to an earlier, more innocent time where golf was only done on radio.
If only you had a producer down there to help you.
Stoff, was it
tough?
Was it better than the last 2 years? I want you to.
Well, it was definitely better than last year's.
Okay, that's good.
That's for sure.
That's a start.
Yeah, the golf thing was tough to judge because it was entertaining at times, but there was also I couldn't edit out the previous shots because then it wouldn't have made sense type of thing. So there was only so much I could cut down.
Yeah, it was a little too long.
Yeah, a little lengthy, but hey, a happy ending with bump there. Definitely.
Definitely
enjoyed
and
that.
you should have seen that bump made.
There was definitely still certain segments where there was clearly people just having conversations all around you.
Right.
That didn't necessarily help.
That when we did Puffy, what's it called? What's the segment we do? Where are you from?
Hypotheticals?
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Well, you had 10 people sitting in a cabana. So, I mean, I tried to focus on just me and Puffy, but obviously
perhaps that wasn't the best place to record.
Bumpy is yelling in the background.
But we needed to have the people making fun of me too.
Right, that's part of it.
Wow,
So
that's...
Anyway, it's over.
I do have some feedback from our listeners here.
Oh, okay.
Electronic Jordan sends in, that shirt is hugging Jimmy well. So
Ooh, love it.
that's references to the Puma, and he writes, and I think I need Stoffington Post's input. My input is only this: you guys are really lucky you got sponsored by Puma this year and not Nike, because you would have those ridiculous check marks on your shoulder for some reason,
Or
on your back shoulder.
Or we got what's Jason Day's company again? What is it? Mal.
Oh.
I can't. It's a trendy fashion company.
He's the guy that has the busy shirt. Is that the
that Augusta National asked him
And
to
the
take it
pants
off.
that were like MC Hammers.
But what was with those Nike shirts? Why did they have the check mark on the back, like
It's
shoulder
a thing.
blade?
They do that now. It's a thing, and
It
I
looks
think
terrible.
I think what they
Looks like a
figured-
misprint.
What they figured out is that you see most of the shots they take of golfers are when they're taking the shot is from behind. So maybe they get the little swoosh all over the place there. Maybe that's why Tiger dumped them.
Terrible. I think so. That must be it. MB fan 204 writes in, Cameron's first question to Bob Weeks made me laugh so hard I almost crashed the car.
Here you go.
He's got a future in the interview business. So
I think so.
Oh yes,
That
I
sounds pretty
certainly do.
He's a little tabloidish, but he gets to the heart of it. He doesn't, he could be this generation's Barbara Walters.
I think so.
Now Rick Wigglesworth writes in. This is more of
his
a
real name.
I checked. Yes, confirmed the SIN number.
Sorry, that's how that feels embarrassing because that's a fine name.
That is a fine name, Mr. Wigglesworth. And he writes, and this is more of a programming suggestion, I guess, for TSN, but how about a Masters in 30 or even better in 60 for the first 3 rounds? So what he's referring to there is like certain soccer shows will do like 90 and 30, or I think Sportsnet does Blue Jays in 30. So it's basically the highlights cut down to the most essential plays.
On our
30.
podcast?
Yes, or I guess he's maybe requesting if that TSN does this at the end of each day, so that
he doesn't give a crap about rubber boots. He's just trying to.
Well, I don't know. He
use
added
this
us
as a vehicle to get to us.
for sure. Whatever. I don't think he'd
that's
mind if
actually
we
not a
were
bad
on the
idea.
coverage. Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
It's actually probably a good idea if people out there realize that, because we basically read all our listener mail on the show, and trying to get a hold of somebody in TSN PR is probably much more challenging. Right?
Yeah.
I would say, just from what I remember, that might be a bit challenging because the Masters is very particular about how things are done. They would have to do it themselves for sure and provide it to us. Now they do. I know that there's every year there's a Masters film, a 1 hour Masters film.
Yeah.
That they have. So we were at TSN's there that in the past, but it's a good idea. But you definitely have to fly it up to. It's not TSN's call for sure. It's Augusta National Masters. They have to make that call.
Yeah, I think Masters also releases like a 15-minute one for each Masters too, which is pretty cool. Like a recap.
Yeah.
So. Probably check that somewhere.
Strong suggestion. Thank you.
Very strong, Mr. Wigglesworth. Keep them coming. And we'll finish off the Masters recap with this. Jeff Laughlin writes in, Puff's new nickname suggestion, the Masters Baiter.
Oh.
Well, I was in the room underneath him, and let's just say,
Yikes.
I kept the numbers down, Jimmy.
Wow.
Down.
Cameras, why have you gone back to the Puffy nickname?
Terrible.
Everything that I've read about the situation seems to be that Puffy's in the good. He doesn't
The
seem
up and
like
up.
He never did anything
anything was
wrong.
done wrong.
And
I
he's
think it
cleared.
was,
Framed.
yeah, I think they did their raid on him, and he's come out. He's come out the other side. So we're back, baby.
We're back.
We'll see.
Everything you've read, where exactly?
TikTok.
Well, on my like TMZ,
Okay.
all my news sources.
Is he still out of the country, waiting to see if he's going to be?
No, I think he's back.
Like all innocent people.
Hey, it just happened to coincide with the vacation. Well
Sometimes
earned, if you
you
ask
got to
me.
take the PJ and go.
Wow.
How did you guys do? How was your weeks without us away at Augusta National?
I managed. Had some editing to do there. But I
And you,
managed.
Lester?
Yeah, it was good. Was down in Tacoma, Washington, of all places. Left Wednesday, Thursday, Friday out of the country. So yeah, it was
Elton?
good.
Cool.
Elton Ron?
Elton Ron.
Is,
Yeah.
nice.
is Elton big in Tacoma?
We've got a good thing at the casino there. We played at a place called the Emerald Queen Casino, and
Nice.
yeah, it's great.
It
Really
keeps
well
them Tacoming back.
Oh, wow.
You seriously are going to mock our content?
I think I can.
What would Elton, if you don't mind me asking, if this is too personal, that's you don't have to share. But what would Elton Ron draw in Tacoma?
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, we played. I think they have a venue at the casino, so it's just it's a built-in crowd already. You know, your high rollers and whatnot. But I think we played to maybe about 1,500 that night, which is not too bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a Coyotes game.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. By the way, I did catch quite a bit of the Masters coverage on Saturday when I came back. I thought it was really good. It looked really good. I like the new house, by the way. That especially the at the end when you're summing up at the end.
Oh, the set.
You had the set was really nice. Yeah.
It's really cool. For years, we used to be on the par 3 course, which was fine. But I think, Puffy, who was it? Was it the BBC or that?
I believe it was BBC.
BBC used to be in our spot. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they lost the rights or they did something wrong. But a couple of years ago,
Sky Sports now for them, I think.
Yeah, so we were invited in, and it's cool because we have Golf Channel on one side of us and ESPN on the other side of us, and so it feels, and it's a really good spot for not only for guests to come. You can watch sometimes guys warming up right behind you. Just feels like you're right in the mix of it. But thank you, Lester. It's always a weird tournament to do because we do those 5 hours of bonus coverage, and if you're a casual fan of golf and you've only watched normal golf tournaments, it's a little bit confusing. That's why I'm consistently trying to explain it to people, because it's not like a normal golf tournament. You guys know we're bouncing around from these feeds. Most countries, Canada was the first place, I think, Lester. Maybe we were the first one. Maybe Korea is the only other one where they let them put all the feeds on TV. And so we bounce between the feeds.
And go from one to another, because technically they're supposed to be static feeds, right?
Yeah. Right. And there are all sorts of rules about how long we can stay on one or the other. So, I can get it frustrating if you tune in to watch, let's say, Scotty Scheffler on Thursday, and Scotty's not in one of the feature groups, and he's not on Amen Corner or 456 or one of our feature feeds, and you're like, why are we not seeing Scotty Scheffler? And I just remind people it's bonus coverage. And when I grew up, I could only watch the back nine on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Like, you barely ever get to see the first hole too, like for the first few days, right? Like,
basically you actually don't see it until, I guess, if you turn on to the feature groups right away, but that's usually before our coverage. So I think only you really see it on Sunday with the lead groups almost, right? Besides highlights.
First hole's not really shown.
Do you think that's good? Like, for that they continue to do this? Like, I understand there's like a tradition, almost creates this exclusivity, but there's also if you go to the course, you can't take pictures.
Stoff, I'm not going to comment
you can on Monday,
Stoff.
Tuesday,
I love
Wednesday.
everything that Augusta National does, and I want to continue to go for the next 10 years.
All right.
Look,
There you have it.
I know what you're saying. As a golf fan, I'd love to see everything. I think we're in an age of showing everything, but just historically, they like to move slowly. I mean, the fact that we show this is kind of mind-boggling. In some sense, if you watch all of our bonus coverage, you see more golf at the Masters than you would see at any other tournament. I mean, the U.S. Open we're on pretty early in like 12 hours, but most other golf tournaments, like right now, the Heritage is on. You turn on Golf Channel at maybe 3 o'clock. So they maybe have 3 to 6 Thursday to Friday, the Heritage. And then on the weekend, it'll be CBS or NBC. I think it's CBS from 3 to 6. So the Masters were basically on from 10 to 7 every day. And though you're not seeing, every single shot of every single player, it's gotten to the point where, at least in Canada, where you see an awful lot of golf. But yeah, it's different. It's the same reason they don't allow the cell phones and they don't have the electronic scoreboards, is because they want you to feel like you're walking into the 1930s. And it sounds corny, but it's actually great, right, Puff? Like, we love walking on the golf course and you just leave your phone behind. Everyone's having conversations. It's, $1.50 sandwiches. It's awesome. What are you laughing at?
It depends who you are in the 1930s.
Exactly.
Not everybody wants to time travel.
Nobody wants to go back. Listen,
What do you mean, Lester? The 1930s in Georgia, not good times?
Yeah.
Sorry. I was a little, that sounded like Make America
But
Great
guys,
Again.
the egg salad sandwiches.
I know what you mean, though. But look.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and you're right. And look, at the end of the day, that's the prestige and the sort of the Masters. It's the only tournament like that, right? I mean,
sure.
So I get it. I think I would like them to see. I like to see them become a little bit more progressive. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I totally understand why they're holding on to these things, because it's the majesty of Augusta National Golf Course.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, I think the cell phone thing, at least, though, it kind of sucks you can't take your own picture there and you might want to have a memory or whatnot, but it's also probably helping people have a way better experience. Right. Yeah. Because at every other event, people just watch things through their phones now, and here you're actually going to go and take it all in. So
yeah, it's spectacular. And every shot you see,
upside of it, probably.
If you watch any PGA Tour event, if Scotty Scheffler or Ludwig Oberg is on the tee shot at 16, every person would be holding their camera up, right? Whereas at Augusta, everyone's just standing there nicely. So I love that part of it. One of the challenging things for us, probably the most challenging thing of the week, besides when you cut off your thumb, which I almost did, which I'll get into, is the food, because those egg salad sandwiches and pimento sandwiches are famous and they're awesome, but we don't bring in our own food. And they're very generous with all the amount of food they provide, but it's sort of limited to those things.
Couple things, yeah.
And so, we're stuck on set for all those hours. You have a lot of egg salad sandwiches and chicken, and you have no real option.
Bob Weeks hit 10 this year, I believe, which he said was a slow year. So,
and by the end of the week, I feel just disgusting, essentially. Plus, we come home then at 10 o'clock at night, and Mr. Wolf always, she's got a catering service, so there's always food waiting for us when we get home. But then, eat at 10:30, 11, have a beer, go to bed. And then Puffy, of course, has his Fruit Loops in the morning, which, I go grocery shopping the first day, me and Weeksy, to buy for the crew. I'm looking for my Greek yogurt and all my fruit. Jamie Ridelbump, our producer, is, on a health kick, so he wants all these veggies. And Puff, what do you need? Just Fruit Loops. That'll be fine.
Easy does it, man.
God love him.
There you go.
Puff, did you weigh yourself when you got home? Do you ever weigh yourself?
No, and it would not be a good situation, because we had not the healthiest diet.
It's not healthy.
The beers were quite flowy.
There was a keg factor this year.
Yeah.
Lanny, our technical genius, found some keg companies. So, in the basement of this house we rented, there was a keg, right, Puff? I did not partake in the keg. Me, I'm a Mick Ultra devotee.
You were. They had a Yingling keg for us. And then when we finished that keg, we went on to another keg, which we went on to another keg. So it was
wow. But in general, I would say Puffy was very well behaved. The entire crew very well behaved, because usually the only trouble you can get into would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before we actually start the tournament. There was a lot of golf being played because we had a little putting green on our house, so there's a lot of golf tournaments and putting tournaments. And
Nice.
Puffy lost hundreds of dollars to me, then won them back with a brilliant performance. So the last night, my regret was, so we're done, long day, last day of the Masters, outside having a beer, reminiscing about the week. It's probably 11 o'clock at night. And Dillette says, I'm going to go meet Johnson Wagner, who's another former PGA Tour guy who works for the Golf Channel. And you guys want to come? And of course, Puffy's in because he's always in, and Bump's in because he's always in. And I'm like, so on the fence. And then I said, yeah, I'll go. And I regretted it about 30 seconds into the Uber ride.
Yeah.
It took about 45 minutes to get to this bar. Johnson Wagner is
probably 50 minutes away.
Think Puffy on the worst of Champagne Tuesday, more coherent with a Southern accent. And you have Johnson Wagner. And this guy, so at the end of the night comes, they kick us out of the bar. And Johnson's like, guys, I don't have to go home till tomorrow. So wherever you're going, I'm coming with you. And I'd already ordered an Uber, which was a small little Honda. So how did it sit in the back? Was it Wagner lying across you guys, or
no? It was GD was lying across us.
This poor Uber driver, Tony. So I go outside, this thing, I'm like, 3 probably fit in this car, 4 is a stretch. Johnson Wagner is about 6'2" or 3, maybe 240, Puff, 230.
Holy crap.
Yeah, he's not small.
He's a big guy.
So I go out and I go, hey, Tony, how many can you fit in here? He's like, about 3, 4 max. I'm like, yeah, these guys want to bring 5. He's like, yeah, we can't do that. By the time this conversation's over, they're already in the back with Dillette lying across the middle. And this poor Tony guy goes, all right. Like, he didn't even fight it. He just gave in.
I thought for sure we weren't going to get away.
Oh, he could kick you out of the cab.
Yeah,
or the car.
I went to bed as soon as we got home, like 1:30 or whatever. I don't know what time I heard you guys till. What time did you go, Puff?
3 something.
Puffy went straight to the course.
When and how did Jonathan Wagner get home? That's what I really want to know.
Oh, we got him an Uber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
Just too much of a wild card for Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Good guy though.
Scotty Scheffler, any thoughts on the Masters? You guys enjoyed a little anticlimactic, but my argument yes.
It was a little bit boring throughout.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah.
Like, here's the problem. Scheffler was so good leading up to this that once he was in the front, even by a stroke, you just felt he was gonna the entire way he's gonna hold it. Yeah. Like, it would take something extraordinary for him not to win because he was going to be pretty consistent there. Yeah. So, like, it would have created for a better Masters, let's say, if he started out maybe 5 back on the first day and kind of, because to be fair, it was close all the way throughout. Like, it was close on the final day. You always want it to be that close. It's just when it came down to it, those guys choked and he didn't.
It was over on like Friday when he was up the lead. He's just
yeah, you could tell.
Yeah. But I made this argument on the air. I still think if he keeps winning, I don't know why people don't like him. I know he's boring. He's not an interesting interview, but he's an exciting golfer. He's a decent guy. He's a nice guy. And so why if Tiger was hitting every shot that Scotty hit this week, people would have called this the greatest Masters ever. I'm not saying Tiger now, because obviously with his body it would have been, but even Tiger in his prime, people would have said, "Oh, what an amazing Masters! Tiger dominates, right?" But with Scotty, it's just like,
Well, he's not exciting, like you said.
But if he wins the Grand Slam or something this year, I think he becomes exciting. You can
absolutely. Right? Now you mentioned Tiger. I mean, I was excited. I was excited when he said, I wouldn't say I was excited. I was actually a little bit alarmed that he said, if everything goes as well as it can go, I can win. And I'm like, oh, dude, don't put that pressure on yourself. You know what I mean? It just felt like
I don't know if he believes it. Do you think
I don't think he believes it. No, he's an athlete. Maybe he believes it on that level that anything, I could still have the perfect day, but he's done. It's over.
I would concur. I mean, I get pushback on this from people who's like, you know what? This was his first tournament back. If he continues to stay healthy and he can play regularly, I'm with you, Stoff. I can't. The players are just too good now, and I think everybody's hoping, one more Tiger run. It's just the gap is,
and it's also like
big.
His staying healthy used to be the back issues and everything. Now with the car accident with his leg, like it's a labor for him to be out there.
Yep, I agree.
But it's not just that. It's just you can't compete against Scotty Scheffler when you're playing once every 6 months or something like that.
But that's the reason he's playing once every 6 months, because his body can't take it either, right? So
yeah. So
but you guys said the same thing about him in 2018.
I don't know that we.
No, not quite.
Everyone said he was done.
I think people.
He never had a performance like this in 2018, though.
Puffy, that was different. That was like before the accident, 5 years ago.
He was playing better, and he was pulling out of events at that point. He was playing better, but his body couldn't take it. He was pulling out. It wasn't to the point where he was finishing at the bottom and just looked like he didn't belong.
If you look, Puffy, if you look at the lead up to that Masters that he won, he had some good finishes. Like I agree. Look, I'm not arguing that was one of the best sports memories of my life, and it was still amazing that he won. But it wasn't like this. He was playing. I don't know. He played 8 tournaments. He might have won. I think before he won the tour, the last event of the Tour Championship the year before, which would be September, October. Maybe won again. Had a couple of top 10s or something. So it wasn't like it was a miracle or something. This would. It just seems beyond the realm of possibility to me. Anyway, enough golf talk. What do you got in your agenda for today? I want to tell you my thumb story.
Yes, of course.
It's not really that bad or tragic, but I make smoothies for the gang on Puffy.
Oh my God! I was gonna guess it was smoothie related.
Yes, you're right. It was smoothie related. While Puffy's having his Fruit Loops, I make smoothies for who partake in the smoothies with Bump, who's now healthy, would have a smoothie every day. First timer. Bob Weeks sometime. GD would have a smoothie. Yes, and I was trying to clean the blade, and I sliced my thumb open, and it didn't really, it just looked like your typical finger cut, except it was kind of deep, and I wouldn't stop bleeding, and it just kept bleeding all day. So I changed the bandage like 12 times, and it just kept bleeding. And now that was on Friday, and now it's Thursday, and it still bleeds every time I take the bandage off. Is that a sign that I need stitches?
I don't know. But is it getting better? Is it getting?
Well, I'm afraid to look at it right now. I change this every day, and every time I take off,
that just hockey tape
starts bleeding. There's a Band-Aid covered in hockey tape. Yeah, because the Band-Aid itself, it just tends to bleed through.
Gotcha.
So if you have a piece of skin, it's like a flap. Okay, so it's a razor blade cut. So the flap is there. Should I have cut off that skin so new skin would grow back? Because I fear the skin is still there. So will that skin reattach at some point?
No. You should. These
are the 3 people you should be asking.
Yeah, that skin should be cut off.
Well, I'm asking our listeners.
You're right on.
I'm asking our listeners to write in
for first aid advice.
Does Jimmy need stitches.com or whatever.
Stitches or no stitches? I like that for a new segment.
Puffy, are you on the phone right now? Are you looking at your phone? Are you paying attention to the podcast? Or are you like
I'm paying attention?
Are you like Trump in court and falling asleep?
The Liverpool score.
Oh, what is that? What's going on there?
That's not Champions League. That's Europa.
I know. I know. I stopped this. The Champions League's
over anyway.
What do you mean? Champions League's over because your club is out?
Yeah, stupid penalty shots.
Wow.
Yes, go ahead, Stoff. Continue now with the program.
All right, so let's move on to the socials here. And so, you know what, since I'll pivot a little bit here, since we are talking about my club, Manchester City, I've been watching their documentary on Netflix lately. And they have a doc called Treble on last season. And basically, they had a thing behind the scenes, like they had cameras all year following them around. And the entire team got into this debate over, would you rather fight a hippo or a crocodile? And so I just wanted to throw that out to you guys, because this feels very fitting for our podcast, because we're all about the fighting animals and animals fighting each other. So this is a perfect fit. So what would you guys go with, hippo or crocodile, or alligator if you must?
Croc.
Okay.
So is the hippo / crocodile fighting you?
Yes. Like you're gonna face off. You're gonna face off against.
Yeah, because I think the croc, you could do like Crocodile Hunter and some of the things that pop up on my TikTok, and just like you could get your arms around him and wrestle him and like hold his jaw clenched.
You gotta try to
Whereas the hippo, you literally have no. How are you going to injure the hippo?
You can't
Make fun of its weight.
because you outrun it.
You're gonna hurt its feelings.
Just hurt its feelings.
Way to go, fatso! Come on.
Might be a bad idea too.
I came across everybody's taken the alligator, right?
So everyone, yes, I took the alligator or crocodile. Everyone on Man City took the crocodile or alligator. Only Rodri took the hippo, and he's extremely competitive. And he was screaming at everyone that he'd rather fight a hippo because a croc will literally chop you in half. So
Holland could maybe beat the hippo.
Maybe, but he's tall. The hippo should take him out at the hips.
He didn't have a great year though this year, right? In comparison
to last year, yes. But
so on my little tiki talk last night, as a matter of fact, something with an alligator came up. You know, you get those videos where people rescue some sort of animal and they end up raising it. Like there was there's one that pops up about a woman who found a stray cat and it turned out being a black panther. Does that one ever pop up on your feed?
Seriously?
No. Yeah, the same woman who found that chihuahua down in Mexico.
It was a rat? No, this is an actual video.
Where he caught the little alligator on his hook. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I saw that, yeah.
And then he decides to raise him.
Yeah, good
and
idea.
so now it's a full-grown alligator and he's petting it. It's crawling up in bed. It's like a full-grown alligator.
Yeah,
when he's feeding it, it looks vicious, but otherwise it looks...
They're going to find that guy's socks in bed one day.
At some, yeah.
Are you, though? Because I got into this discussion with Brooksy after watching this.
Oh my!
If you raise an animal from its birth, are they always going to be?
They still have animal
loyal?
instincts, Jimmy. It takes years, for example, to domesticate animals. It takes generations.
But if it was from, puppyhood, I don't know what you call it. Do you call a little baby crocodile a puppy?
A crocky. I think they call him a crocky.
One of it's called infancy. How about that? Leave it at that. Infancy, from its infancy.
Okay.
I've seen enough of these lions, the people that raise these lions, they go back, the lion gives it a big hug. Bears. It just seems like if you get an attachment with the animal from birth, and I felt a lot of guilt watching this because I will talk about an incident that happened years ago in my yard where I found a little baby squirrel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking baby squirrel, like it was like this big. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, Brooksy, what am I going to do? I got this baby squirrel. And I kept trying to put it down and it would kind of run back into my hand. And if I knew what I knew now, because TikTok didn't exist then, I probably would have got a little bottle of milk and raised the squirrel. But I didn't know what to do. So,
So why would you breastfeed?
Why what's the matter?
Why rob yourself of the experience?
You're supposed to be the conscience of the podcast. And you want me to
sideways.
breastfeed a squirrel. So I feel regret about this, but at the end of the day, I'm like, Brooksy's like, we can't raise a squirrel. We have 3 children and 3 dogs, or maybe it was 2 dogs at the time. So I made a little nest for the squirrel because I figured he fell out of a tree. And I placed him in the nest back in the tree. It was right in my neighbor's yard actually. And then I went in the morning and the squirrel was gone. So I'm assuming it was
eaten by a hawk.
Probably.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, speaking of which, last night I need some expertise on animal sounds. If it happens again tonight. There was an animal last night, woke Brooksy and I up at like 3 a.m, as we live on a forest. And I don't know, I'm going to guess raccoon. First, I thought it might have been a distressed dog, but it was an obvious distress. And it made this sound every 5 seconds for like an hour straight, to the point where we couldn't go back to bed. And Hugo was beside himself. And it's just it was like,
Are you sure that wasn't just one of your neighbors? Because that sounds like
getting murdered.
Yeah.
The lovemaking of this. No, I said to Brooksy, I said, this sounds to me either it's an injured animal or maybe it's an animal whose babies have been stolen from its nest. It was not a bird for sure. So I would think raccoon, because how many? It's not like Lauren Green's Wild Kingdom is in my backyard here. There's only probably raccoon, skunk, coyotes do come by on the trail, but I don't think it was a coyote. Fox,
but they stick to the trail.
Possibly fox, but I almost got up in my jams and went on the trail to try and find out what this animal was and to help it out. But then I thought if it was like a rabid raccoon, I could die. And I'm already missing a thumb.
That's That's a common mistake you guys make. You know, these guys are animal lovers. They always want to go out and see what's happening. See, this is the difference between, if I may say, I mean, this is not.
Don't say black people and white people.
It is though.
Accept it, Jimmy. We're lame.
We're not going out there.
We're not cool.
We're lame, Jimmy.
I'm not going outside. I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between helping an animal and hearing something screeching and not wanting to go outside, because I probably wouldn't go outside.
Yeah. If it happens again
I'd
tonight,
observe from a distance, probably.
I'll try to get my phone out and record it. Because the only thing is terrifying is this. I think I talked about it on an earlier podcast when Brooksy and I went on a vegan yoga retreat in the Costa Rican jungle. We had howler monkeys, and howler monkeys wake up at like 4 a.m. and they make this awful kind of these horrible serial killer sounds and
live up to their names.
Yeah, it freaks you out. So anyway, again, any animal experts out there, if there's someone that knows thumb first aid and distressed animal sounds together, that would be really helpful. We'll have you on next week.
Dream guest.
Why didn't you record it last night when you heard the video?
Because I was still tired, Puffy. I wasn't like my phone. I keep my phone in my bathroom. That's where my charger is. So I wasn't going to get up and get my phone just for this podcast.
Oh, you don't sleep next to your phone.
That's interesting.
Brooksy, it's,
A health thing?
Waves through your head.
No, see, because I used to do that. I used to do that back in the day when I had the alarm on there.
She looking?
Look at that door.
This time she'll have a knife.
I used to keep my phone on the opposite side of the room just so the alarm, so I couldn't hit the snooze, basically. That way it would force me to.
Well, I do think, like, with a daughter in Switzerland and stuff, but I figure, I don't put it on mute. So if she calls, I'm going to answer it. But it's just I don't like it by my head, I guess.
Okay, that's fair.
That's probably fair. You make a good point. I should move it to Stephanie's side.
Yeah, definitely. Put a little buffer zone.
Do you and Stephanie sleep together nightly?
Not nightly, but
once a week.
She's over on the weekend.
Twice a week. Do you ever suppose go to her place?
My answer to that question. That's she's over. I'm good.
Does she have a drawer?
Yeah, she's got a drawer.
Toothbrush?
Yeah, she's got a drawer. Oh yeah.
Oh, she's got a drawer. She better have a toothbrush. What's going on here?
Do you go on the road with her?
Sometimes
you go to her house.
For example, I go to her house occasionally, but she's got the kids, right? So most of the time she's here, right? But like on the road, for example, like sometimes like we played in Ottawa last year, for example, and I took her with me. So we went and made a weekend.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
That type of thing. You know what I mean?
Very nice.
Yeah. So
big news.
Did you tell her my buddy has a key to the city?
We tried to drop his name, but didn't do anything for us.
Brooksy and I
be a Hall of Famer there, so that'll be a big.
That's true. When is that, Jimmy?
May 28th. You guys can purchase tickets if you like and come on down.
Purchase tickets. Wow.
Oh wow.
No, if you want to come, I'd buy you a ticket.
There's not even a rubber boots row that we could sit in.
Exactly.
I thought they would like pan the light to us at one point.
I purchased a table. But most of my family members are occupying the table, and if I have to purchase another table for you guys, there's $1,400.
It's okay. I'll just stand in the kitchen.
How much are tickets?
They're expensive. This is how these Hall of Fames, they have to make their money, right?
Do I get a meet and greet?
They just induct people.
You do get a meet and greet and a picture.
May 28th is a Tuesday. I actually am available.
Okay, come on down. You can come with us.
That count as a work
I'll drive
day.
down.
Brooksy and I, what day is today? As we tape this podcast, it's
Thursday, the 18th.
Thursday, April the 11th.
Oh,
18th.
Okay, I'll wait till next week for this. Wait till next week.
Okay.
What else you got for us, Stuff?
What else do I have? I have a bit of controversy, boys.
Ooh.
Oh,
Let's say that you were participating in Roll Up the Rim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And you were signed up online and you got this alert in your email. that says, congratulations on winning a 2024 Tracker Targa. And this is basically an 18-foot boat and trailer. The value of this is $55,000. And the thing is, there was one of these prizes to be claimed, but a whole bunch of people got an email from Tim Hortons telling them that they had won.
So was this a mistake by whatever company Tim Hortons had contracted to run the contest?
So basically what they're saying is, it is unclear how many people were impacted, but the chain told CBC Hamilton in an email that it was an unfortunate error and some customers were sent the email with incorrect information.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Well, we better be careful.
That's fair.
Lester is a spokesperson for Tim Hortons.
I don't know, man. Mistakes
I'm on
happen.
payroll. I can say whatever I want about Tim Hortons.
I don't know. If you got the email for a $50K boat, Puffy, would you just say mistakes happen after they tell you didn't win one?
Well, no, but I mean, if they could prove that like 100 of these emails went out, they're not giving away that many boats.
Well, I know, but still.
No, I'm with you. I think I would. It's got to be like a small claims court or some sort of.
Well, the people are talking about taking it to court, basically.
For sure. But I think that they would probably have a pretty decent case.
There's over 200 people who filed complaints already, apparently.
my goodness.
So
Yeah.
Well, Tim Hortons is looking at a settlement there. There's no question. I don't think.
It's worth fighting it, but
they're not going to get $50K each. But at the same time, look, companies have to be held accountable because at the same
100%.
time, people are buying these products in order to win these prizes.
Yeah, you're getting Timbits for it, probably.
Yeah, and well,
probably.
There's also way worse examples of stuff like this around the world. So they're not the worst or whatnot, but yeah.
I told you guys
a documentary on the guy who should have got a jet from Pepsi.
Yes. Well, did you watch what happened in the Philippines? That's what actually I was referring to as much worse things happening.
What happened with the guy that got? I never watched what did he get instead of the jet?
So the jet thing, I always found it fascinating because I remember as a kid seeing that commercial. It was basically if you save up enough Pepsi points, you could buy things. They brought in that program, and they showed the jet at the end, and it showed something like 100 million points, something they figured no one would ever collect. And then I remember as a kid, months later, that same commercial aired, and when they showed the jet, it said "just kidding." And I thought to myself, "Oh, someone must have tried to collect the points, and now they have a legal disclaimer." And I never thought about it for years to come. And then I saw this documentary. And this guy basically went and collected all the points. He had a whole system. He had places where he would like storage facilities where he was storing all the Pepsi products in order to collect the points because there was just so much of it. And he collected enough points to claim. And they basically screwed him. They basically screwed him out of it. Like the way Pepsi looks in it isn't great because it basically looks like they know they were misleading people. So that wasn't great, but there was a whole other thing that happened that they had a giveaway in the Philippines that was very much like this Tim's thing, where they promised people something like the life-changing money, and then a whole bunch of them won. Now, this is also in a country that's not obviously, not as wealthy, so a lot of people lost a lot just trying to win, and then they were kind of screwed out of it. So when I say this type of thing happens, it does happen.
I was baptized early to this. And I probably talked about it on an episode, but one of the only contests I ever entered in my life, I think I was maybe 12 years old. And Mark Ward and I used to hang around at Joe's Grosseteria in Blackburn Hamlet and buy our little snacks from there, our chocolate bars and stuff. And I was a big Orange Crush guy. That was my pop. And there was the Orange Crush mini indie sweepstakes where you had to send in, remember all the old pop contests. Usually it was on the cap, that little rubber thing inside of the cap. And you'd win something. So you had to, for this one, you had to send in 6 of the cap things or reasonable facsimiles. I always wondered what a reasonable facsimile was, but I actually did it. So I basically would trace the cap and draw it on a piece of paper. And that's what a reasonable facsimile is. So I sent that into Orange Crush because the prize was a mini Indy car, a 1/3 size of an Indy car that you could drive like around your neighborhood if you were a kid like me. Like it actually was motorized. So basically a little, basically you see those little kids on those little go-karts whipping around sometimes in your neighborhood. Well, this was a mini Indy version. It looked like the coolest thing ever. It was decked out with Orange Crush. Yeah. And I read all the small print because I was a geek, and it said it was 1/3 the size of an Indy car. And it just showed how many across Canada would be given out. So it was like 12 in Ontario, 5 in Quebec, so on across the country.
That's a lot of Indy cars.
Yeah. So they called me. One day I get this phone call, and it's like some adult on the line. And they say, "Is this Jamie Duffy?" And yes, it is. You have won the Crush Mini Indy Sweepstakes. Well, this was the greatest moment of my life. But they said, you've won second prize in Canada. And I'm like, second prize. And second prize was what do they call those little race cars? Race tracks, we used to have, where you put the
Hot
Wheels?
Hot Wheels?
Kind of like there was like the Tyco Night Glow racetrack, and you basically they were automated and you could race cars around them. They were pretty cool, but it wasn't a mini Indy car.
Yeah.
And so I said to them, well, how many Indy cars did they give out? They said, well, they only gave out one Indy car. You won second prize in Canada, and then one guy somewhere in Saskatchewan won an Indy car. And I'm like, but on the back of the thing it said you were giving up like 30 Indy cars, and they're like, yeah, well, that was a mistake. So Jimmy got railroaded out of an Indy car at 12 years old, and it broke his heart.
Wow.
I do remember that story from before, but it hurts just the same.
Yeah, thank you. I started repeating them all in like season 4. So I'm just making Sean Morrison's work easier, so he can just write down same as season 3, episode 4. Don't bother to listen.
Recap season 3.
I got a great story about my pants. Let's
do it again. Continue on, Stoff. Remind me though, I want to do a playoff hockey pool, and then you can call this our playoff preview episode, even though we won't really talk about the playoffs that much. But finish off, and I want to do a pool with the group.
I got a hockey pool in a couple hours, actually. I got a draft for, so this will be good prep for me. So sticking with food franchises, there's some news about this one here. Red Lobster is reportedly heading for bankruptcy after losing millions on endless shrimp.
It's
and
amazing.
I only post that in order to be able to play this clip.
That man ate all our shrimp and 2 plastic lobsters. 'Tis no man, 'tis a remorseless eating machine. Arr.
The Simpsons predict the future yet again.
Wouldn't at some point though, like if you're on top of the ball, an established company like Red Lobster, wouldn't you realize, a couple of weeks into endless shrimp that it wasn't working for you and cut it off?
We're bleeding money.
I don't get it. I mean, there's got to be a strategy, right? You got to say, okay, well, look, I've got this endless shrimp, but I'm really going to make my money over here on drinks or whatever, right? I would think that's what they're going to have to do, right?
You know what they should have done is what Tim Hortons did and been like, you know what? The endless shrimp was a mistake. Here's your bill.
The endless shrimp ends at this time or whatever, for a limited time only, whatever.
I got a little bit of stake in this because me and Nicole have a $50 Red Lobster gift card.
You better use it.
So if they're gonna go bankrupt, we gotta get a move on that one.
I did. All the girls at my high school worked at various establishments. I think I've talked before about Cindy. I think Karen worked at. Oh, sorry, Stoff. They worked at the McDonald's. And story. It was always fun to pick them up at the end of the shift because you picked them up at the end of the shift and they had that McDonald's smell, and it was so alluring when you were 17.
Oh yeah.
They're like, I got to go home and shower. You're like, no, don't. Do not. But Leslie Grignon,
my tasty McNugget.
She worked at the Red Lobster, and that didn't smell as good as the McDonald's at the end of the shift.
I imagine. I have a friend that claims that Red Lobster microwaves all of its food.
Really?
I don't know if that's maybe that's where they're going under.
All possible.
Yeah. I can count on like maybe less than 5 times I've had Red Lobster in my life.
I'm under 5 for sure.
Same
here. Here's an example: Turks and Caicos.
That's why they're going under.
if I can brag about the restaurant at Waimara is called Indigo, and we have the chef named Andrew who's from Australia, and he's legendary, and he's made it the #1 restaurant on the island. And one of the things when he came in is he says, "I'm only using fresh fish." And I'm thinking, I'm in Turks and Caicos. Aren't all the fish fresh? And he goes, no, 90% of the restaurants, it's frozen fish, like the same you'd buy at Loblaws or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not Loblaws, but so you think you're in the Caribbean and you're eating fish caught that day. 90% of the time, it's not the case. So he actually goes to the local fisherman every day and gets the fish. So
does he go out and fish?
Well, he fishes back in Australia. I don't know how much he fishes in Turks and Caicos, but yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't surprise me if that stuff happens. Anything at fast food-ish kind of restaurants, right? Would be kind of dicey.
Red Lobster, though, that's not red. I mean, listen, I worked at the Keg when I was a kid, and I'll tell you, it was all like, they cook those steaks. You know what I mean? Like,
Keg's
but
great.
Keg is like
Keg's
it's a
quality.
pretty high standard. Yeah.
Keg's quality.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So,
Anything else?
Well, we do have listener mail, but I am intrigued by this hockey pool idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a real idea, and it's nothing. I thought instead of taking players, that we would just pick the 16 teams in a draft, and whoever team won the Stanley Cup would win some sort of prize.
Okay, I love it.
So, I will. The only question is whether we do a snake draft or not.
Well, I think you have to do a snake, no?
Okay, I think that's fair. So, what I'm going to do?
snake bite speed?
I need a pen. I need a pen to do this fairly because since we're doing it live on the podcast, I should have thought of this.
I'm going to fill out a bracket here.
I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 20. You guys are going to guess the number. I'll take whatever spot you want me to take in the draft. Okay. So,
By the way, I mean, I know I'm the conscious of the crowd of the podcast here, but your microphone, Jim, I've never seen the whole thing. It's quite phallic. It really is.
Just grip it just like that.
it's a Yeti, which is also Brooksy's nickname for. Never mind.
Apologies.
Whoa.
Why? Because she never sees it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I take that back. back. My apologies.
It's because it disappears. It disappears in the forest when it gets cold.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
You did say you have a forest in your backyard, so
Okay. So I have written on a piece of paper. I've written a number between 1 and 20. Who's ever closest to that number, you can choose where you want to pick in the draft. Stoff, you can pick first.
10.
10. Lester.
18.
18.
Easier for
Puffy.
these guys.
Look at Puff. Really
Puffy?
confident.
He's sleeping, I think.
9.
Oh, you bastard.
It's the number 8.
Wow, come on.
Wow.
So that means that Puffy, you have the first. You have the
Real
first
nice.
choice. So you can pick. You can pick first, or you can pick fourth if you want. Stoff will pick second, Lester third, and me fourth. I don't mean in the draft. I mean where you want to pick. So what do you want in the snake draft?
I'll pick first.
You want to pick first, Stoff?
It's a snake draft. I will pick second.
Okay, Lester, third or fourth?
Third.
Okay, I'll pick fourth. Puffy, you have the first selection, any of the 16 NHL teams. I'm not even looking at the things here. I'm just going to go by my heart. Ooh. Is Philly still in?
I'm going to take Crosby and the Penguins.
Are you going to write them down? Are you going to write them down, Stoff, or what? I'll write them down.
That's what I want.
Puffy, go ahead.
I am going to go with the Colorado Avalanche.
And what is your reasoning? Just give a quick reasoning, just like you were on the panel.
I just think that they're McKinnon and Markar.
Do you guys think McKinnon should win the Hart?
Yes.
I do. I just think.
I saw a thing from Hazy B last night.
Yeah, I thought it was very good.
Sports Center. And it was very good. And I do think I totally agree with what he's saying, but I think McKinnon should be the Hart Trophy guy.
His point was that McKinnon's season will be the least memorable of the four guys with Kucherov, McDavid, and Matthews. 200 assist guys and Matthews 69 goals. And McKinnon had a great season, but it will be the most forgetful of those four. And I wonder if we are trending towards the NBA where it's almost like a career achievement award, which in some ways I don't argue with because McKinnon deserves to win a Hart. And he had a remarkable year. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I'd vote for. I'd lean towards Kucherov because I think he finished first by a bunch of points, 100 assists. He was in on something like 60% of Tampa's goals or something ludicrous like that. But there's no bad choices, so we won't get into an argument about it.
The problem with doing the Lifetime Achievement Award is you're inevitably robbing someone else who's deserving, and you're going to have to give it to them down the line.
I would say in this case,
passing the buck.
In this case, you could give it to any of the four, and nobody should go, this is an outrageous.
Who do you think doesn't get to go to the ceremony?
Yeah, who's the odd man out
for the Hart?
Yes, who doesn't get? Who's one of the three finalists?
So you think the three finalists should be Kucherov, McDavid, and McKinnon?
Yeah.
I think, is there a possibility that the odd man out's McDavid?
Maybe. I mean,
It could be, but I mean, they love him. Here, let me say this about McKinnon, and I will make one point about his season that I think sums it up. Look what he has done for Jonathan Drouin. He has single-handedly revived that guy's career. That guy was dead. I thought after Montreal didn't re-sign him, he was going to be retiring. And look what he's done. To me, an MVP makes your team better. Not to say that McKinnon, not to say that McDavid, obviously, not to say Kucherov, even Matthews, obviously makes your teams better. But honestly, when you elevate the team, like to me, that point right there, what Nathan McKinnon has done all this time, I think he needs to be at 50 goals. I mean, he had a hat trick to get the 50 goals. Come on, it's Nate, man. It's Nate.
Okay, I have no problem with that. Okay, the second vote, Lester gets the second pick in the draft.
I thought it was Stoff.
Stoff gets the second pick in the draft.
Okay, I get shot.
Yeah. Again.
So sorry, this is it just for the winner, or do we get points for each round one or anything like that? So that impacts my decision here a little bit, I think.
Let's have a winner after every round. Small prizes, but the winner, it does not matter how you did in the first 3 rounds. It's just if your team wins the cup. So you are going to be awarded 1 point each.
I'm
making this up
already.
on the fly.
Yeah.
You're going to have 4 teams. So if somebody gets 3 teams through in the first round and everybody else only has 2, 1, or 0, then you win that round. If not, it's a tie. It's very simple. And then now you're down to 4 teams. It's just like that, okay? And
what if all of us get 2 teams through?
Well, then we'll have to split the cash.
I think it should be every round. Whoever has the least amount of losses.
Okay. The least amount of total
game losses. Game losses,
right? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if? Okay, that's fair enough. That'll be the winner of each round. Valuable cash prizes. So now we've taken our contest and just cut out the listener.
Love it.
So this is now really just a podcast for 4 people. We finally found a way to completely alienate all of our listeners. Even Snake's might drop off now.
Just turned it off.
It's like
Pete in Japan is like, you guys.
Yeah.
Lester, so what did you pick, Stoff?
You keep giving Lester my pick. I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars here.
Just think of Dallas. Damn it.
I was thinking Rangers, but you know what? The President's winners usually don't do too well, so don't go all the way. So
Lester,
I'll stick with that.
I am going to go with a team that everybody counted out for a long time, but they are the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Wow. Bold.
They could play Dallas in round 1.
Yeah, they could.
That'd be amazing. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well,
as one of the faces of the nation in Canadian broadcasting, I will stand by my Canadian brethren and select the Edmonton Oilers.
Nice.
Okay, all right.
Jimmy, do you think that you're on the Mount Rushmore of Canadian sportscasters?
Yes.
But on our Mount Rushmore, are there like 100 little heads?
No. There's 4 heads. That's a Mount Rushmore.
No. Maybe by the time I'm done. But not now.
So you think your best days are ahead of you?
You got Ernie Afaganis. You got your Ernie Afaganis. You got your Don Whitman. You got your
Steve Armitage. Is that his name?
Yeah. Steve Armitage. I love Steve Armitage. I don't know if he's on Mount Rushmore.
He's awesome.
What about who's the guy? Pat. He used to be on CTV. Pat Bally.
Pat Marston.
Pat Marston.
Yeah,
Pat Marston.
Oh, God rest his soul. Yeah.
Brian Williams, obviously, probably on the Mount Rushmore there.
B-Dub's probably on there, right?
Yeah. I would say he's on there.
Yeah.
Dave Hodge.
Dave Hodge, you can make a case for. Ron McLean, you can make a case for, certainly. Or you play-by-play guys. Bob Cole. It's tough. Tough to get my head on there, bud.
Johnny Esau.
Just say, judge me by my body of work when I'm finished. Okay, Puff?
Okay.
All right. But thank you for, hopefully if I pass and they do build a Mount Rushmore. I want you to be out there
I will
protesting for
definitely
me.
submit your name for consideration.
For consideration.
I think you're a shoo-in for the rubber boots.
If Lindsay Hamilton came to you and said, Puff, would you consider my name instead of Jimmy? Jimmy's passed, so he won't know. What would you do?
So would consider Lindsay's name for consideration.
Of course. Edmonton Oilers. All right.
Who are you matching with the oil?
Who am I going to match with the oil? I better go other. Let's go. You know, part of me, I was going to pick all 4 Canadian teams, but I think you guys will interrupt that anyway. So I will go. I'm going to go. Yeah, screw it. I'm going to go. Yeah, New York Rangers. I just changed my mind 4 times in the middle of that 10-second thought process. New York Rangers. That would be Leicester next.
Yes. I am going to stick with I'll go with the Canadian content, the Winnipeg Jets.
That's what I was thinking about right there. All right, Stoff.
Okay, so that's Jets off the board. Ooh. Getting a little tight. Rangers gone. All right. I'm going to go with the Oilers. Oh, damn it. You already picked the Oilers. Damn it.
We're only 6 picks in, Stoff.
I've already lost track of all the teams.
So, like, I'm not even looking at anything. Come on.
Oh, God damn it. All right, just give me the Leafs.
Oh!
Boo, Ernst.
Wow.
I will take the Florida Panthers.
Okay. Well, you could do a bold
And-
strategy right here. Go Florida, Tampa, back to
The
back.
Vancouver Canucks.
You're taking one of your teams out.
I know, so it's got some
Sorry, what was the other one, Puff?
Van.
Florida Panthers, Vancouver Canucks.
All the Canadian teams are now gone in the first 9 picks. 4 Canadian teams in the first 9 selections. Go ahead, Stoff.
Everyone has one, right?
I was just about to pick the Jets. Whew. Now, do I want to do what Jimmy just suggested and take the Bruins as well?
Interesting.
That would be
Guarantees you a spot in the second round.
It does, although I don't love it.
In that series, you're guaranteed 7 losses.
That's true too. No, you probably only 4, Puff.
Give me the Canes.
Ooh, Carolina. That's a good pick. Is it me now or is it Leicester?
It's
Leicester,
It is
right?
Leicester.
Okay.
And I will go with the aforementioned Boston Bruins.
The amount of mistakes we've made trying to get through.
Pick 16 damn teams.
The chip on the shoulders. The chip on
All
the
right.
shoulder from last year, I think will propel the Bruins quite a way this year. They've got unfinished business.
All right.
Okay.
So, who is left? Let's just do a little thing here. We have the Tampa Bay
LA
Lightning.
Kings.
Tampa Bay Lightning,
Bay.
the Washington Capitals. Is that the only 2 teams left in the East? New York Islanders.
There needs to be 5 teams left.
New York Islanders, and then LA Kings, Nashville Predators.
Yep.
I am going to take both the Los Angeles Kings and the Nashville Predators. No, I'm not.
Wow.
I'm going to take.
Oh, you said it. It's down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Kings and the Nashville Predators. That's fine. I wanted Tampa.
Nice.
I wanted Tampa, frankly. But that's
Well, that's who I'm
Leicester
taking.
take Tampa. There you
Tampa.
go.
I'm taking Tampa.
okay.
So what are the 2 left now?
Washington and
Islanders.
Islanders.
Well, just so I don't block another one of mine. Give me Washington.
Islanders.
All right. So to recap: Puffy, Colorado, Florida, Van, Islanders. I like that team. Stoff, Vegas, Winnipeg, Boston. No, that's Leicester. Leicester, Vegas, Winnipeg. I just wrote them down out of order. Vegas, Winnipeg, Boston, Tampa Bay. That might actually be the strongest four teams. Stoff, Dallas, Leafs, Carolina, Washington. 2 pretty selections there. But all you need is a cup champion. Edmonton Rangers, LA, Nashville. Pretty heavy Western bias there for me. All right, so once again, there will be a winner every round based on the least losses, and then the overall champion will win the grand prize. And
$1,000.
The tailor-made driver you promised to our platinum winner.
here's what we'll do.
Left-handed clubs for kids.
Here's what we'll do. This will be like the match where we have to dedicate our winnings to charity. So the listeners of the pod will go on the X app or the Instagram app, and they will vote for their favorite team. Stoff's team. Just write Stoff's team, Puffy's team, Lester's team, Jimmy's team. Whoever wins, we will randomly select one of our fans who supported our team to win a prize.
That's perfect. And we should also set up a GoFundMe page for people to submit money for us to win.
Right. Yeah. Sounds about right.
I think that one of the top prizes should be this lovely framed picture.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Look at that. That's lovely.
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Great to be back together with you guys. I'm sorry you guys couldn't make it because of our dial-up issues.
Technical difficulties. What's that? What's that ring sound like? Puff?
Ring.
And thank you, listeners, for.
Are we not going to do listener mail or?
Oh, I forgot. Go ahead.
Just quickly.
I was trying to wind things down for you.
Wind things down. All right.
Yeah.
Listener mail. Listener mail. Thank you for listening.
Jeff Laughlin writes in, Jimmy needs a good steel-toe boot or composite safety shoe to golf in, apparently. Do I smell a sponsorship and pod name change?
That's a good point.
So steel-toe podcast, I guess. Jeff Kraus writes in, a guy used to play on my hockey team had his big toe stepped on pretty hard while playing basketball. Ever since that, his toenail will grow black and fall off. So that does sound familiar with Jimmy.
Back up.
Yes, I still will say those two are outliers more so than the standard, but sure. Next, we've got Stuart Chaplin, and Stuart sends in a submission for your favorite bit that we do, Jimmy, and that's the opening lines to songs.
You have to excuse me, I am not in my best. I've been gone for a month. I've been drunk since I left.
So
pretty good.
Vacations. What a song. I tell you
That
what,
might be number one.
if you're in a bar on George Street in St. John's, Newfoundland, and that song comes on, man, there's no better place to be.
That's got to be 30 years old, that song, right?
Summer bar.
90s at least,
It's
right?
It's
I'd say like early 90s.
Still a
song.
banger.
Still goes.
Yeah.
All right, so that will now officially wrap up our opening lines bit that we've done.
Until another one comes.
No. This is now official because your Tapiainen tweets in this. Okay. Now that we've hopefully completed the best opening lyrics, it's time to tackle the best. There you go.
I think it's over. I think that wins.
Yep, that wins.
No argument from any of the four of us.
Yeah, no argument for us. We'll see what the listeners say. And yeah, we got one last final piece here. Matthew sends in two questions. What's the portrait in Lester's wall?
Portrait.
So, I don't know if there's a portrait.
I think he's in a different spot now.
You are in a different spot possibly. So maybe we'll get him to write back in.
Okay.
He also writes, Stoffington Post, is your Kobe jersey signed?
Nice.
So that Kobe jersey not signed. However, I will show you this. This is the Kobe book, and this is signed.
Oh,
you know why? Well, I'll tell you this much. Because every time TSN 1050 would get a book sent to us, and as a radio station, we get tons of sports books, I would open it up, get a pen out, and write, Dear TSN 1050, thanks for supporting the dream. And I would sign it as whoever the book is by. So I basically forged Kobe's thing onto this, and one day I decided to take the book home because I thought it was funny. I actually did think it'd be funny if Kobe ever had like a meet and greet or somewhere, and I would just bring that and show that to him. Obviously, that can't ever happen, but it is what it is. So yeah, my signature, but yes, the book is
hilarious. Speaking of books, I'm going to say it here first. Looks like I might be writing Beauties too.
Oh,
wow.
Beautiful.
It's been a few years. It's not official yet, but I'm thinking about digging back in and doing my first sequel.
Very nice.
That's good.
All the original stories, but alternate endings, or
yes, I'm just gonna make up more shortcut.
Well, yeah, it's pretty good.
Jimmy, I am available for minor hockey stories.
Maybe it will be Beauties to
the rink
edition.
To the rink.
Ooh, wow, I like the ring of that. Yeah.
Just to close the thought, Home for Arrest, released 1990. You're absolutely right.
There you go. Well done.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did it, boys.
All right, boys. We'll talk again soon. We'll have a playoff edition of the Rubber Boots podcast next week, maybe the week after. We'll see how she goes. It's almost golf season, so it might get a little dicey. See you next week.
Hey, how are you? I got a question that I really want to ask you. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank at the fair? I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank at the fair? This is the part they call the bridge. A bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like a dunk tank at the fair?
Do you like the dunk tank?
At the fair.
The dunk tank, the dunk tank.
At the fair. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? No, seriously. Are you wearing your rubber boots? Don't hang up, please. Somebody. Hey? Hey? Anyone?